In the headlines, Commonwealth Observer Group urges stakeholders to ensure peaceful elections. INEC to get cash allocations from CBN on Tuesday. APC chairman, governors urge AGF, CBN to respect Supreme Court order. And on the foreign scenes, floods, landslide killed dozens in Brazil's Sao Paulo state. Hello and welcome to News Update on Trust TV. I am Sagir Ibrahim. Hello and welcome once again. Members of the Commonwealth Elections Observer Group for the 2023 Nigeria's general elections have arrived the country to monitor the conduct of the presidential and National Assembly election slated for Saturday. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman reports that the group led by former South African President Thabo Mbeki harps on the need for peaceful, transparent, credible and inclusive election that will meet the yearnings and aspirations of the people. Take a look.
The Commonwealth Observer Group is in Nigeria for the 7th time since the return of democracy in 1999. Comprising of eminent personalities from around Commonwealth countries, the group has a mandate to observe and assess the pre-election period, activities on polling day and the post-election period.
Throughout, we'll consider all factors relating to the credibility of the electoral process. We'll assess whether the elections are conducted according to the standards of democratic elections to which Nigeria has committed itself, including the constitutional framework and national legislation, as well as Commonwealth and other international commitments. As we undertake this assessment and conduct our duties, we will be objective, independent, and impartial.
The group is expected to visit selected states of the Federation such as Kano, Sokoto, Lagos, Ondo, Edo, Rivers, Benue, and Abuja and submit recommendations for future improvement of the process.
The Commonwealth Observer Group has no executive role. Our function is not to supervise but to observe the process as a whole and to form a judgment accordingly. We are here in our individual capacities as eminent and experienced Commonwealth citizens, and as such our assessment will be our own and not that of any Commonwealth member government or organization.
The Commonwealth Observer Group is equally keen in ensuring the implementation of its previous recommendations with a view to entrenching democratic governance amongst member states. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Also, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has expressed hope that its cash request presented to the Central Bank of Nigeria would be met on or before Tuesday. INEC National Commissioner and Chairman of its Committee on Information and Voter Education, Festus Okoye, disclosed this on Sunday. The Commission had earlier said it presented its cash requirement for prosecuting the forthcoming elections to the CBN in the face of shortage or scarcity of Naira notes in circulation. The Commission had explained that even though it does most of its payments through online transfers, some specific services have to be paid for in cash. And also, the United States Embassy in Nigeria has alerted its citizens in the country on possible protest and restricted movements on February the 25th and March 11th. In a notice on its website titled Security Alert, Possible Protest Leading to Elections and Restricted Movements on Election Days, the embassy advised its nationals to avoid rallies as they can turn violent with little or no notice. The embassy also advised American citizens in Nigeria to have 3 days of food and water at home in case movement restrictions are extended beyond election days. And also, the Federation of Muslim Women's Association of Nigeria, FOMWAN Osun State Chapter, has called on the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to address all encumbrances that may hinder women's participation in the forthcoming election. While appealing to women to troop out to vote for candidates of their choice, FOMWAN also charged security agencies to ensure safety of the electorate during the exercise. Hamidu Yegbade files the report.
Leaders and members of the Federation of Muslim Women's Association of Nigeria, Osun State Chapter, held special prayers for God's intervention so that the 2023 general elections in Nigeria will be peaceful. The association urged women to troop out on Saturday to cast their ballots. Form 1 warned women not to sell their votes during the elections.
All women, all Muslim women are enjoined to vote lillahi wa rasulihi. We should not set our vote. Selling of vote is sinful. It's against Islamic laws. So we must not sell our vote. We must not sell our conscience. We must not trade our vote for either for rice or for beans or even for turkey.
Riyike Pade Omishakin, the National Orientation Agency's Community Orientation and Mobilization Officer for Osogbo Local Government, educated the Muslim women on their roles during the elections.
Women, we know we are very active politically, but sometimes our activeness is just in our rooms. So as now we are here to call on everybody to sensitize them on the need for all the women. As long as they have their PVC, they should come out to vote en masse. All should go to their respective polling booths to cast their vote to the candidates that they desire.
Form 1 appealed to INEC to remove all encumbrances that may prevent women from participating in the exercise. They demanded separate queues for female and males to prevent mingling of men and women during the elections.
They should wake up very early, get the breakfast very early on the table, and ensure they go out to vote, and ensure that they pick a line, women to line up on one side and the men on one side. They should ensure that they go out to vote.
The Muslim women said they are ready to vote on Saturday, promising to raise awareness among other women to participate in the elections. Amid Oyegbade, Trust TV News, Osogbo.
Still in politics, emergency meeting of the All Progressives Congress, APC, and its governors ended in Abuja with a call on President Muhammadu Buhari to intervene and end the hardship being experienced by Nigerians. Addressing journalists shortly after the interactive session, which had in attendance the presidential candidate of the party, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, also urged the CBN and Attorney General of the Federation to respect the Supreme Court ruling on the matter. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman reports.
We note very seriously that the program and its implementation is causing tremendous difficulties to the people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and to the national economy.
Now, recall that three frontline APC governors have approached the Supreme Court challenging the decision of the federal government to redesign the Naira note and, of course, the implementation of its cashless policy.
We urge the Attorney General of the Federation and the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria to respect the Supreme Court's order of interim injunction, which is still assisting.
This is coming, few days to the presidential election in the country, which is holding on the 25th of this month.
The meeting is urging His Excellency, Mr. President, to intervene in resolving the issues that are causing these great difficulties to the people and to the economy.
From the APC Secretariat, Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News.
And the Kaduna State Governor, Nasir El-Rufai, has directed ministries, departments and agencies to accept payment in old and new currencies in line with the Supreme Court recent judgment. This was contained in a statement issued by the Special Advisor to the Governor on Media and Communication, Muyiwa Adekeye, on Sunday. The statement said the directive is in line with the subsisting order of the Supreme Court. The statement averred that the laws of Kaduna State do not allow personnel of government agencies to be involved in cash collection of revenues. The collection, it maintains, rests on the shoulders of collection agents authorized by the state government. Agencies do offer citizens a route for each payment and are expected to comply with the subsisting court order. This came as Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs Samuel Aruan said the government received credible intelligence that various groups were planning to disrupt public peace through street protests. He reminded citizens that such protests remain strictly prohibited and warned against actions capable of inciting a breakdown of law and order. And away from that, point of sale operators in Jos, the capital of Plateau State, say despite the scarcity of Naira notes in the banks, their businesses still enjoy patronage as usual. The POS operators say in spite of the shortage of cash in the hands of customers, the cashless policy is still a blessing as their gains have not dropped. Adu Musa completes the report.
Since the introduction of the new Naira notes by the Central Bank of Nigeria, many individuals and business owners continue to lament over the situation as they do not get money for their daily needs. Many business owners have also complained against how the new policy crippled their businesses. But POS operators in Jos say they still make gains despite the shortage of the Naira notes. Although people are crying that the shortage of the Naira notes is affecting their businesses, we are still gaining from the policy as people come for transfer and other transactions. Some POS operators charge their customers high, but I don't do that here. My charge remains the same with what I was charging before the policy. Yes, people are suffering due to lack of Naira notes in their hands. But in my own case, I still enjoy the business. What I was earning before the Naira policy hasn't changed despite the shortage of the notes. We thank God for what we are earning. It is a good policy and people should be patient. Scarcity of Naira note has been a major setback for business transactions across the country since the introduction of the new Naira policy, especially petty businesses that may require cash transaction. Experts say unless something is done, the economy of the country may crumble. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari on Sunday sent a message home from Addis Ababa saying he is fully aware of the hardships some policies of government which are meant to bring overall improvement to the country had caused, and appeal for further patience as the government takes appropriate measures to ease them. In a video recording to show up support for Bola Tinubu, the candidate of the All Progressives Congress in the upcoming elections, the president thanked Nigerians for electing him to be president for 2 terms, urging them to vote for the APC flag bearer.
I'm fully aware of the current hardship you are facing as a result of some policies of the government which are meant to bring overall improvement to the country. I'm appealing to you to exercise further patience as we take appropriate measures to ease these hardships. God willing, there will be light at the end of the tunnel. God has once again brought us to another season of general elections across the country. I am therefore calling on all of you to exercise your franchise in a peaceful atmosphere. I am calling on specifically our traditional rulers, religious leaders, and parents to warn their followers and wards alike to not allow themselves to be used by a few to foment trouble. I want to assure you that the government has taken adequate security measures to allow everyone to come out and cast their votes.
You're watching news updates on Trust TV. Coming up after the break. Hurdles brown sugar producers face. Stay with us.
Nigeria, now we country. APC, not the party. Now one man last, the elections are here. Let's turn out en masse on election day and vote Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as President of Nigeria for a renewed hope and a better Nigeria. Vote APC, the party that shows a broom.
Now, as part of efforts to support Africa's goal of strengthening...
Now, looking at the activity chart, as you can see right here, a total volume of 130...
Created a Boko Haram crisis that at that time was restricted to Yobe.
How secure are they? You can see security men with blood.
This is the road leading up to the...
Or really, if you look at England squad, you are looking at EPL, you are looking at their names. You are not looking at...
Welcome back. If you're just joining, you're watching News Update on Trust TV. Now, recap of our top stories. Commonwealth Observer Group urges stakeholders to ensure peaceful election. And INEC to get cash allocation from CBN on Tuesday. Moving on to other stories now, the farming community in Benue State is yet to recover from the 2022 flood that destroyed farmlands and other livelihood, even as Nigeria Meteorological Agency, NIMET, has predicted yet another flooding this year. Against this background, farmers in the state have intensified calls on the government to be proactive to avert further damages. Take a look.
15 out of the 23 local government areas of Benue State were adversely affected by the floods in 2022, raising concerns over food security in the state. With the latest NIMET predictions, experts in the agricultural sector said the way forward is for farmers to engage in dry season farming. This, they said, is the only way to make up the lost. The State Minister of Agriculture said government is already planning in that direction.
As farmers are educated on the need, you witnessed what happened in the state as a result of flooding. A lot was lost. So a gap is being created. But with dry season farming, we are expecting that that gap will be filled. People are going to produce out of season. And if that continue, you understand, we shall no longer rely on rain-fed agriculture.
However, the farmers said they need proper funding or incentives from the government to practice dry season or irrigation farming.
Except the federal government provides enough security and also provide farm inputs for farmers. Farm inputs such as herbicides, fertilizer, farm machineries, tractors, and improved seedlings. If that is done, I am very sure that we can be able to come back here and do dry season farming.
I think it will be done and it will help the masses. What I mean by the masses is generally with farmers. Government should intervene to help. They will give support. If not, there will be hunger.
To people who live close to the river is that they should prepare. They should prepare because this thing happened last year. So they have to prepare before the time. Government, they have to pass message to those people because some of them they will not be aware of what is going to happen. But if the message reach them, then they will now prepare to be out of that place before the flood will now come. Farmers should learn how to work in a dry season because if they cannot work in the dry season, as far as this flood is coming continuously, it will affect lives. So they should do their best to work also in dry season. It will help us.
According to records from the Benue State Emergency Management Agency, SERMA, thousands of Benue farmers were affected by the flood disaster in 2022.
Also, brown sugar production, locally known as Mazarquela, is a lucrative business in Kaduna State and parts of northern Nigeria. The production of brown sugar thrives largely in the rural communities. The business, though, is suffering from lack of modern production machines. In this special report, Trust TV's Bello Musa spent time with brown sugar production communities living between Kaduna and Katsina State. Here's his report.
These are communities located in Kaduna, bordering Katsina State. Their main occupation is farming. Sugarcane is one of the major farm produce grown around here. Production of Mazarquela, which is made from sugarcane, has been a lucrative business for these communities for decades. In the past, they used hose to go round and in the process squeeze the sugarcane to produce the liquid for brown sugar or Mazarquela production. But now, motorcycles have taken over from hose as it goes round the machine to squeeze the sugarcane and extract the liquid. Buhari Usman and Magaji Abba have been in the production of Mazarquela for over a decade. We used to call sugar rawandoki, but now we are using machine to squeeze the sugar cane. We plant it here on the farm during dry season, and when the sugar cane is ripe, we bring our machine to the farm and start the production. Boiling the liquid is a critical stage of the Mazarquela production, and producers said the business is paying them. We have recorded success in the Mazarquela production. We got married from this business and take care of my children and pay their school fees. We have migrated from using horse to motorcycles. This is a great achievement. On daily basis, they produce 5 of these pots due to non-availability of modern machine to squeeze the sugarcane to extract the liquid. Our machines are old. We inherited them from our fathers. Besides, we have to take them to Zaria or Kaduna for repairs when they develop faults. Our ambition is to buy modern machine for the production of sugar, but we don't rely on government. It takes 15 to 29 minutes on motorcycles from the main road to these communities, but people come from far and near to buy Mazarquela. We sell the brown sugar at Danja, Bakori in Katsina, and Kaduna State, as well as other locations in Nigeria. This species of this sugarcane is planted in the rainy season and harvested during dry season. With the fertile land and the commitment of the farmers here, they could do more if only provided with fertilizer and dam for irrigation farming. Fertilizer is costly this year. We bought a bag at 25,000 naira, and we need a dam to allow us to grow sugarcane throughout the year. Zage-Zage, Yakaji, Unguwar Sambo, Fankawa and other communities on Katsina-Kaduna boundaries are sugarcane farmers and brown sugar producers. They said if provided with modern farm input and other supportive implements, they could not only produce sugarcane for the brown sugar, but for the sugar industry in Nigeria. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
There you have it, brown sugar producers in Katsina and Kaduna. Moving on to foreign scenes now. Torrential rain has triggered flooding and landslides in coastal areas of Brazil's southeast, killing at least 36 people and displacing hundreds of others. Entire neighborhoods were buried underwater, debris from hillside houses swept away by mud, as well as flooded highways and cars destroyed by fallen trees. The town, 200 kilometers north of the city of Sao Paulo, and where many people from the capital spend the holiday weekend ahead of the Christian festival of Lent, was one of the hardest hit as a record 600 millimeters of rain fell in 24 hours. More than 100 firefighters were working on the scene with the aid of helicopters. Amid the loss and destruction, authorities said a boy aged 2 was rescued from a sea of mud, as was a woman who was giving birth. Sao Paulo State Governor Tarcísio de Freitas declared a state of emergency in 5 towns along the coast. Weather forecasts show heavy rains are set to continue in Sao Paulo's coastal area, challenging rescue workers and raising the prospect of a higher death toll. And in sports, Nigeria's under-20 men's national team, the Flying Eagles, started their campaign in the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations Championship on a shaky note as they suffered a 1-0 loss to the Junior Teranga Lions of Senegal in the opening match of Group A on Sunday at the Cairo International Stadium in Egypt. The 7-time Africa champions started as the better side as they piled pressure on their opponent's defense for an early goal, but it was the Lions of Senegal who broke the deadlock before the end of the first half through a CF Talavera striker Suleiman Faye's goal. The Flying Eagles of Nigeria are in the same group with hosts Egypt, Senegal, and Mozambique. And with that, we've come to the end of News Update on Trust TV at this hour. Do well to follow us across all our media platforms. I'm Sagir Ibrahim. Thanks for watching.